Rangers bounced back. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes 2-1. And look, they were outshot 30 to 16. It didn't look very good for a while, but in some ways this was kind of the exact opposite of the game at the Garden on Tuesday, where I thought the Rangers had a good beginning, really took a turn, but you know, Carolina was the better team down the stretch at the game in MSG. The Rangers were the better team down the stretch in Raleigh. And the Rangers tied up in the second, take the lead early in the third, and I thought their best period was the third, by far. The third period was a solid period in terms of getting that lead and holding the lead. They didn't really sit back. I mean, the shots on goal were 5-5 in the third, but that's exactly kind of how you want it. But it never felt like they were necessarily sitting back. Sure, Carolina pulls the goalie, they have chances, but Carolina, if you can kind of weather the storm, no pun intended against the Hurricanes, but if you can weather that storm, that bodes well. Carolina, I don't want to say they tire themselves out, but they kind of do tire themselves out a little bit. And they outshot the Rangers 13-3 in the first. I don't think the Rangers had a single even strength shot in the first period. But this is a win to feel good about. Ryan Lindgren was out, and there was a re-aggravation of that injury like we talked about last game. Again, for me, sit him out as long as you need to, even if that means through the rest of the regular season. And there's 10 more games. I would sit him as long as it needs to be. So that's one thing. So Brent Harper comes back into the lineup. So maybe that was the missing formula. I'm joking, obviously, but the Rangers. This was a game where there was definitely a leaning on the top four. Harper and Schneider did not play too much. I thought that in limited time they were both fine. And that's kind of, you want to shelter their minutes when you can. But the top four, it was a heavy amount of minutes for the top four. Adam Fox, I haven't even talked about the two, really stars of this game yet. But I'd say the third star of this game from Ranger perspective is Adam Fox. And it was good to see. He scores the game-winning goal. He, he sort of set up that first goal the Rangers scored, a goal by Artemi Panarin. He doesn't get an assist on it, but he kind of set it up. And his partner is Mikkola. And Mikkola has kind of slowly but surely found his game. Will there be bumps in the road? Probably. But that was a good acquisition. That Tarasenko-Mikkola deal, I like that trade. Really, I mean, in terms of what they brought to this team, I can't say enough good things in terms of Tarasenko, who was off to a slow start. He also plays a nice role here. On the flip side, Patrick Kane, I continue to not be impressed by Patrick Kane, and it's kind of funny. It's like going into both of those trades, there was for me a little bit more excitement with Tarasenko, and with Kane there really wasn't. I mean, yes, excitement in the fact that he is Patrick Kane, and you have this Hall of Fame player going to the Rangers, but the hope for me is that come playoff time he can turn it on, and we kind of saw that near the trade deadline, Kane kind of ramped it up and was fantastic. But here's the thing. In a series against Carolina, I don't see how Kane's going to have much success. Sure, maybe against the Devils in a series that might be more wide open. Kane can kind of, find his ice, get things done. But I don't think he's been very good. But again, on the flip side, positive, Tarasenko has been good. The unfortunate thing is I look at their ice times tonight, and part of that is because Kane got a lot more playing time than Tarasenko, which I also don't agree with. That's a change that I hope is made, but just including that, Kane 18 minutes and 20 seconds, Tarasenko 12:09. That's a 6-minute difference. That should not be happening. And to me, that's a simple kind of switch. But tonight was a kind of a four-line situation. The fourth line got a lot of minutes, as they should have in the game like this. And the kid line is the one that kind of suffers. The kid line is the line that in this game, look, they've lost kind of their ice time, but I thought that they played well. I did. I actually thought that they played pretty well. Just the production hasn't quite been there. It hasn't. But look, once the playoffs begin, I would not be surprised if that kid line is one of their more effective lines. That's just the truth. But it just is what it is in terms of their ice time. Sometimes it might even be around the same as that fourth line. So it was a lot of top four defense-wise, and it was definitely four lines, the fourth line playing a lot. So, which I still think is a good change. It keeps everyone fresh, and I do think that's a very good thing to have a fourth line you can depend on. The two key players of this game for me in particular. First, Igor Shesterkin. Shesterkin makes 29 saves on 30 shots. He gives up one goal, Sebastian Aho in the first. And, I think, we'll talk about that as we go through the game. But Shesterkin, really, really strong. Made a great save on Jesse Puljujarvi on a 2-on-1. Great setup by Derek Stepan. And a great, great save by Shesterkin. He is finding his game. He is definitely, and that's great to see. He has been a lot better lately. And so the numbers are starting to come back, and, they're definitely a lot better. And you look at the record, 33, 12, and 7. That's great. 33, you're not going to complain with 33, 12, and 7. It's some of the other numbers which now are again looking a lot better. 914 save percentage, 2.55 goals against average. For Igor, it's not great. But in general terms, it's getting a lot better, and he looks a lot better, and that's very important. So I thought Igor was really good, and he's been good against Carolina Hurricanes, right? I mean, when I think about last year's playoffs, I mean, he was very, very good against the Hurricanes, and that's been the case this season as well. In the regular season, he didn't play each game against them. I believe Halak played one of the games. I think Shesterkin was in the other three. And then Artemi Panarin. Panarin, getting him away from Kane is good. And that Panarin-Zibanejad Tarasenko chemistry is building. I would not touch that line. I wouldn't. I would leave them alone. If you want to take it with, again, if you want to mix and match in terms of, just as an example, Kane for Kako, I'm all right with that. I don't think they're going to do it anytime soon, but I'd be fine with that. But in terms of that Zibanejad line, I'd leave it alone. The chemistry all around for all three of them, they all if you want to put them in duos, it seems like they all have nice chemistry, whether that be Tarasenko Zibanejad, Panarin, Tarasenko. Any way you look at it, it's been good. And they were responsible for the 2 goals, and Panarin specifically scores a goal, sets up a goal, and that's good to see because, again, this is someone, I look back at that Carolina, I mean, just in the playoffs in general, Panarin was kind of a no-show for me. And that line with Strome and Kopp just did not really get going. Never did. And so for Panarin, it's important for him to have this type of success. And to be fair to him, we've seen it this year at Carolina. Panarin's been the player. He had a 4-goal game with Carolina earlier. And now this game tonight, he was the catalyst. And that's the difference between Carolina and the Rangers. And that's why now I but I guess faith has been restored in terms of I don't mind playing Carolina. As much as Carolina can really take it to you, and they're a very, very hardworking team, and they're annoying to play against. They are flat out annoying. And you will not beat them. They're not a team that you're just going to take out. At least I don't see it that way. You would have to be very fortunate to beat them in 5 games. A lot of things would have to break your way. You're gonna have to. It's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be an absolute battle. But the Rangers have shown they can win at Carolina. Let's think about that as well. 3 straight wins at Carolina, getting back to Game 7 last year. That is not easy against one of the best home teams in the league. So now the Carolina Devil race comes back into play. And sure, the Rangers could they catch the Devils? Yeah, that is possible. They are 4 points from the Devils, and New Jersey has a game in hand. I still don't think that necessarily happens. Again, Carolina and the Devils, that's a 2-point difference. Carolina's up 2, and Carolina's got a game in hand. So Carolina still got the leg up. But the thing that hurts me is I wish the Rangers had somehow beat Carolina the other night. Then you're talking about a completely different situation, and the outlook would be way, way different. But it didn't happen. Realistically, you weren't going to win all 4 games against the Hurricanes. With that all being said, let's quickly run through the game. There's not really a whole lot to go through. But we'll talk about it. First period there were a good amount of penalties, but as it goes on, it definitely lessens. And again, Carolina, first 10 minutes, it was, I think they outshot the Rangers either 7-0 or 8-0. Jack Drury cross-checks Tyler Mott at 10:05, so Mott draws another penalty as he did last game against Carolina. And then at 10:16, Jordan Staal delayed game. So it was 1 minute and 50 seconds of 5-on-3 for the Rangers. And there was chances against Freddie Anderson, but they could not score. And to me, that was a killer. The power play, momentum-wise, was bad. I mean, they got nothing going last game. This was a good one, but it's 5-on-3. It should be. And they don't score. Then at 13:26, Lafreniere hooks, got to spare, but the Ranger penalty kill does a nice job. And the Ranger penalty kill lately has done a really, really nice job. And so that's been good to see. But at 16:47, Carolina scores. It's Sebastian Aho, his 31st goal of the season from Natchez. And this is a play where, you gotta step up. And Trouba's usually not, he's usually good at stepping up, but he kind of backs in. And Trouba and Fox were on at the same time, and Aho kind of uses Trouba as a screen and risks it by Shesterkin. It looked as if Igor didn't really get a good read on that, but I think he was screened. If he wasn't screened, that's probably one that Igor went to that back, but I don't think he saw it. So Carolina takes a 1-0 lead. Then towards the end of the first, they get another power play. Zibanejad holds Brent Burns, but the Rangers kill that off. We go into the second. Burns holds Tarasenko. We've seen that with Tarasenko. We've seen him draw some penalties, but the Ranger power play doesn't come through again. Then, you eventually get that really nice save on Puljujarvi by Shesterkin. And then at 10:33, the Rangers tied up. It's Panarin scoring his 24th goal of the season from Zibanejad and Tarasenko. Fox makes a nice play to Tarasenko. Tarasenko takes a hit to make the play on Zibanejad. It's a beautiful pass, one-timer to Panarin, and he scores past Anderson. And the Rangers tied up at 1 right there. Then at 12:16, Keandre Miller hooks Marty Natchez, but again, the Rangers penalty kill does a great job, and that is, and maybe that's in part to the Tyler Mott acquisition. He's gotten some decent penalty kill, time on ice. Jimmy V, it's mainly been, and part of it's skewed because Zibanejad was in the box, but the three main trios seem to be Zibanejad, Kreider, VZ Goodrow, and Mott Trocheck. And, Kako could fill in here and there, but that seems to be what it is. But the penalty kill has done a really nice job. We head into the third period and it's 1-1. And the Rangers should feel fortunate that it was 1-1. They, because as the second period it gets better, it does, but they probably should have been losing. We go into the third, and Vinny Trocheck had an unbelievable chance, but Trocheck hits it off the post. And Trocheck, it's nice to take him away from Carolina and now have him on the Rangers. It's twofold. Carolina loses him, and now the Rangers have him. Trocheck just seems like one of those players that will really rise up in the playoffs, whereas Ryan Strome, to me, it's the opposite effect. Trocheck, to me, is someone, and maybe, we'll see, could be dead wrong, but just plays with reckless abandon and just does a little bit of everything. And Trocheck almost scores, doesn't. But very soon thereafter, it is that Zibanejad line again. And it's Fox involved again. It's Adam Fox. He scores his first goal in a while. It's his 11th goal of the season from Panarin. Great pass by Panarin. And Zibanejad at 4:01. The Rangers take a 2-1 lead. And from there, it was really, really good. Again, when the Rangers pulled the goalie, it got a little bit interesting. But they really did a nice job. Really did. And so the Rangers win this game. They go to Carolina. They win it 2-1. It is an absolute rebound from the night before, from the last game. It really what it was. I mean, collectively, I would say in the two games, collectively, I'd say Carolina was the better team. But when you really, in terms of the important moments, the important times, Carolina had theirs in the first game. The Rangers had theirs in this one. And that's just what it was. So the Rangers should feel good about this win. They can win these types of games. They can win different ways. They can score goals, but of course, they can win low-scoring games. We've seen that before. And we've seen them play well in third periods before, which is why the last game was disappointing. So now, the Rangers go to Florida. And I use this word a lot, but this has got to be true. It's going to be a desperate Florida Panther team that's coming off a 2-game losing streak. I'd expect the Panthers to be ready to go. The Rangers have had success against the Panthers, and even though Florida's gotten better in recent years, the Rangers have been good against them. So that might continue. It'll be a Florida home game. The Rangers won the first 2 games this season against Florida, where a lot of goals were scored. We'll see what happens here. Wouldn't be surprised to see Halak in net. We did see Halak at the very least in that game. It might have just been the one at Florida. And they're there again. I wouldn't be surprised. Halak, but they could go Shesterkin. Put it this way. The Rangers then play Columbus on Tuesday, I believe, at home. Halak's getting one of those games. That much I can tell you. So I'm interested in seeing how that Florida game goes. I'm interested in seeing the race between Carolina and the Devils. And here's the other thing. The Rangers play New Jersey this week as well at New Jersey. So I'm very curious to see how that game goes too, in terms of my opinion on who is the better matchup. But here, the Rangers do a nice job. They take the road game in this home and home. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes 2-1.